Toy Rat.
What's up, Collective Fam? It's your boy Tony the Toy Rat, back with another rigorous resin review for new PVC, pre-used and preview. So now that that's out of the way, I want to talk to y'all today about the Dark Dimension, Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange, getting right into it, is pretty comic book accurate in terms of the MCU and the switch of the comic books. Now, he came out in the Silver Age of Marvel, 1963, developed by Steve Ditko. Steve Ditko came to Stan Lee with a 5-page mock-up of the Master of the Mysticism, Master of Magic. And Stan Lee put him into the Strange Tales episode, and he gained popularity. So his first origin story came out a few episodes later in Strange Tales number 115. And that gave the origin story for Stephen Strange as being a neurosurgeon and all the things that you've seen basically play out in the MCU version of him. But first things is, he wasn't always called Doctor Strange. First he was called Mr. Strange. And they changed it from Mr. Strange to Doctor Strange mainly because they already had Mr. Fantastic. And they were hoping nobody would recognize, but a few episodes or a few issues back in one of their other books, they already had an evil Doctor Strange. Apparently, we just kind of let that go, and now we have Benedict Cumberbatch. So today, although he plays the role extremely well, he was not the first to play the role. That would have been in 1978, and I believe the actor's name was Peter Hooton. Now, Stan Lee was intricately involved. He was on the set. He was making sure everything went off according to the way he wanted Doctor Strange to play out. But it was way different than the comic book. There, he fought mainly Morgan Le Fay. I'm talking about the 1978 version of the film, which was meant to be a pilot for a series that would be ongoing that really never took hold. But in that version of him, he was a psychiatrist. He wasn't a brilliant neurosurgeon. And he seemed, I don't know, horny. He just seemed like an average 70s style American. Doctor Strange, although he has never really been the most popular of the Marvel comic characters, took hold in the 60s and 70s mainly because, well, the way Ditko was drawing him and the way Stan Lee was writing him was more reminiscent to psychedelics and mushrooms, and everybody at that time was sort of experiencing an immersion into the psychedelic world. So they wondered whether or not, and I'm saying they, the people who viewed Doctor Strange in the comic book world, wondered whether Marvel was all a bunch of heads, whether they were taking a bunch of psychedelics or what have you and drawing these things out. Not true at all. Steve Ditko was apparently very influenced by the work of Salvador Dali. So there was a lot of, not to mention the fact there's Eastern magic elements and Egyptian elements all play together. So all that being said, Stephen Strange became sort of involved in that deep mysticism, and the people of the 70s regarded him as a psychedelic icon. The more you know. Okay, well, there's one other thing you may or may not know. Yes, the MCU did get it right. Stephen Strange is actually a member of the Marvel Illuminati. Now, the Marvel Illuminati contains a lot of your favorite characters. You saw some of those characters in the MCU's version in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. I don't want to get too far into that because you can go down the rabbit hole with Marvel's Illuminati. So with that being said, I'd like to delve a little further into the PVC model from our friends Diamond Select of Doctor Strange. Now, we did a pretty short unboxing for you, so you guys can take a look at that. Nothing super special, but it does talk about the size of the box, which is 13.5 inches by 8 inches by 14 inches tall. And inside of it is our figure. So talking about what that is, I'm going to bring him on the stage. Guys, introducing Diamond Select's Doctor Strange. Now, you may have seen 1 or 2 or 10 different reviews, a couple of shorts on this already, but this guy definitely requires a little bit more in-depth analysis because of the fact that they put so much intricacy into what he's doing, how he's wielding it. A lot of what you saw in the MCU is exactly the same in this particular figure, which is exactly the same as the comic book. So, boom! Number one, he's comic book accurate. His hairline is comic book accurate. You see that? He's got that patented silver mane coming up towards the back of his head. Kind of reminds me of me. If I could rock that mustache, which I cannot. You can see the dynamic look on his face. He's clearly chanting a spell. He's saying something, Ugamami kapapa papa papa, and then rings are, popping out onto his hands. These are called Tao, T-A-O, magic rings. That's what they're referred to. So as he starts to develop all these wonderful things he's doing in the background in the films, those are Tao magic rings. The cape that he's wearing is the Cloak of Levitation. It is the same Cloak of Levitation that you see in the MCU. It is what helps him float and fly about. Okay. He is wearing the Eye of Agamotto. You can see it right there on this piece here. And this outfit is exactly comic book accurate, down to the cheetah gloves. Okay? So lifting up, you can see he's just off the top. And they did that by using the back of the cape to basically stand him off of. It's obviously very rigid. This doesn't flow at all. Even though it does have some maneuverability to it, it's not going to go anywhere. And what he's floating over, if I'm going to turn this right, hopefully you can see it, that's a giant eye. And that is the Eye of Agamotto that he's floating over. So this Doctor Strange is not only comic book accurate, but he's dynamic, he's floating, he's above the Eye of Agamotto, he's got the magic rings going, he's chanting as he's moving along. Not only is it something that you want to keep staring at, but you definitely want to have this in a collection set alongside the other figures because it makes you want to go back to it over and over again. At $49.99 from your friends at Diamond Select, I'm not sure you get a better version of this. Doctor Strange at his height, moving, obviously in the middle of a battle that's about to ensue, and that battle happens in your mind over and over again as you set him back on the stage. So I'm going to put him back in his rightful place, right in front of the comic book for Doctor Strange. Hopefully you guys have liked anything I've said about Doctor Strange, or you just want to see something else from the Diamond Select collection, XM, Prime Studios, even Funko Pops. Tell us what you want us to review. We're going to do our best to pick that up and review it for you, whether it's in a 30-second format or whether it's a full review like this one today. So we hope to see you back here again for our next review. Remember, this is Tony the Toy Rat signing off. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon.